Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Budget Subcommittee meeting this morning to order. This morning, we're going to be hearing from the budget presentations from 911 dispatch, followed by the police department. So I've been joined by Councilmember Goodman, Councilmember Yang, who of course chairs the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Andrew Johnson, Councilmember Bender, and Councilmember Reich. I'm sure other council members will be joining us as the morning continues. So we can begin today, if you would. Ms. Hunt, if you'd like to present the recommended budget for 911, we can begin.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. I'm Heather Hunt, the 911 Director, and I'd like to introduce two of my staff members who are with me today, Christine McPherson, who is the Assistant Director, and our Operations Manager, Janelle Harris.
Great.
This is our department organizational chart, which has not changed since last year. The budget is summarized on this slide. The recommended increase from 9.58 to 9.73 million from 2015 to 2016 compromises a 1.7 increase due to routine inflationary operational increases and the mayor's recommended enhancements for our quality assurance program. The 911 core program is a single comprehensive program which covers 911 call handling, non-emergency call handling, and emergency dispatching. Over the past year, I'd like to call your attention to a few highlights of 911 accomplishments. We've worked hard to continue providing excellent service to the public and our user agencies, police, fire, and emergency medical services. The 4 additional dispatchers allowed for in the 2015 budget have been hired and are currently in training. We have 6 existing staff that have completed their cross-training, bringing us to an 80% completion rate in our cross-training initiative. We went live with our new shared hosted call handling system and have been on that system for 5 months now. The system is stable, performing extremely well, and we continue to work to configure that system for the greatest efficiency and effectiveness. In April, a fire in City Hall forced evacuation of our center to our backup facility, and we were able to accomplish that exit and reentry without any decrease in service to the public. Our 911 staff has played an integral role in all of our successes. They have a hard job to do, and they do it extremely well, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our 911 culture team, which was launched late last year, has worked to improve employee engagement with recognition events, and the Minnesota chapter of APCO International, the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials, awarded our center the Making a Difference Award in recognition of our dedication and service to public safety. The budget and the 911 program support, I would argue, all the goals and values of the city as a key public safety function. But I'd like to highlight a few. When we crafted our vision last year, our new vision for Minneapolis 911, excuse me, is to provide excellent, equitable public safety communications service and lead the industry with a highly skilled, diverse, accountable, and professional staff supported by the best technology and practices. And to my mind, that vision encompasses all the goals and values of the city, most notably living well, quality of life improves when people feel safe, a city that works, running the organization efficiently, making responsible technology decisions, being a good steward of our resources, and providing a great place to work for our employees. And safety as the preeminent value As the first point of contact in an emergency, 911 is the link between the public and public safety response. The mayor recommends $80,000 in ongoing general fund resources to support and expand our quality assurance program. The quality assurance program is our evaluation process to make sure that calls are being answered and processed correctly against a set of criteria that we determine. And you will see on our next slide our progress in that area. This enhancement will allow us to expand the quality assurance program to meet the national standard, which requires that 3% of calls are reviewed. Currently, we're at about 1.5%, but we don't have the staff to expand. So I'm very excited about being able to deepen our accountability efforts. Here are some selected performance measures. The service level charts you see here represent, on the top left, 911 service level. We've recrafted our targets to coincide with the new national standard for 911 call answering, which is currently under review and expected to be published this year. And that requires or suggests that 911 centers should answer 95% of incoming calls in 15 seconds or less, and 99% of incoming calls in 40 seconds or less. And you can see from this graphic that we are very close within percentage points of achieving that standard. And in fact, yesterday, for example, we did achieve the standard for the 40 seconds, and we're 1% away from the 15. Many hours of the day as well, because these are aggregate numbers, many hours of the day meet or exceed the standard completely. On the right, top right, you have just another depiction spread over the months of June, July, August, and September. We went live on the new system in May, so June was our first full month of activity that we were able to measure. And you can see that that trend is going upward toward the target. On the bottom right, you see our 40-second service level and how that is also quickly approaching, and as I just said, most of the time meeting or exceeding that standard as well. On the bottom left, the 911 Quality Index is what I mentioned for our quality assurance program. This is a numerical score depicted here quarterly, and we are also seeing an upward trend in the quality. We just need to do more of it. That brings my speaking points to an end, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Hunt. I just wanted to, as we begin here, I wanted to introduce that we've been joined by Council Members Fry, Council President Johnson, Councilmember Cano, and is that all my new folks since the last? I think it is. And also I wanted to point out, of course, we've been joined by Spencer Cronk, our city coordinator. And 911 is a coordinator department. So thank you for being a part of Public Safety Morning. And we'll be able to continue quickly. I just wanted to make sure we had opportunity for questions from council members. And Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Hunt, with regards to 911, are you all now fully staffed with last year's increase of 4 staffers?
We had some departures that were unexpected, but we have extended job offers, and a new class is starting on November 2nd, and that will bring us to full staffing.
Okay. And could I mean, within the last, let's say, 6 months or so, I mean, where were you all in terms of staffing? Like 2 short, 3 short, 4 shorts, or a little bit shorter than that even?
I think at the greatest number was 6.
Okay.
Over the past 6 months.
Okay. And a follow-up question with regards to that. I mean, just with the increase there, I mean, how have response times or how have you all improved in terms of your performance versus, let's say, a year ago?
Our performance is, in my opinion, much improved from a year ago. We've worked hard on making sure that our staff understands the goals and objectives of the department. We have made some tweaks to our training program so that we can minimize the impact that training has on our performance levels. And our new phone system has made it easier to take and process calls. And in addition, we just upgraded our CAD system, and that also has made it more efficient for staff to work through the call processing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good. Well, thank you, Councilmember Yang, for bringing those items up, because I think it really demonstrates, as the chart in Ms. Hunt's presentation illustrates, since the new call system went online, we've seen dramatic improvement on the number of calls received, and I think that also adds credibility to what this council did in last year, making that investment and continuing that investment into improve the call center. And then, as you mentioned, the staffing issue, although we were short 6 people, that obviously has an effect on that. But it's a smaller percentage of the overall staffing, and with the new class coming on, I think that's a terrific way to stay ahead of that curve. So thank you very much, Ms. Hunt, for your service and for your presentation, of course, but of course to the entire team for all of its responsiveness to this area. Council President Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Hunt, have we gone through this? Everybody's trained as a dispatcher now. Is that fully implemented?
Yes, we are at 80% complete.
Okay, so that's ongoing then.
That's ongoing.
Okay.
We have several staff members starting their promotional training later this year, and then we have the year of 2016 to complete the process.
Okay. And this upgrade that has happened now, how does that influence when people get a busy signal?
I'm not aware of any busy signals that we have encountered since we went live on the new system.
And when was that?
May 15th, 2015.
Okay. All right, that's fine. We hear complaints, but sometimes it's just not accurate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hunt. I'm not seeing any further questions, so we can conclude this portion of the morning's hearings and look forward to any transition time that the police department needs. So.
Never know who.
Yeah.
I'm happy you do.
We're ready whenever you are.
All right. Well, we'll be able to continue then our public hearing. This is the Minneapolis Police Department portion of the morning's agenda. We'd like to welcome, of course, Chief Harto. So
Thank you.
as you begin at your leisure.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I was just commenting to 911 how vital a service they are. They said, please be sure to share that with council. I said, absolutely will.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Exactly. I said vital. I didn't say more important, just to be clear. First, I'd just like to begin by telling you we continue to transform how we do things both internally and externally. We've made improvements in police services, and our daily operations will continue to build public trust. With this year's budget, we are pleased to report we have accomplished many things we highlighted last year to help us further our mission. We have completed a successful body-worn camera pilot program, laying the foundation for implementation in 2016. By year's end, the entire department will be trained in the national program, Fair and Impartial Policing. We have made tremendous progress in our recruiting efforts and staffing levels. With the next recruit class in December, our total will be 852, barring any attrition we didn't expect. So we managed to do that even with the 37 attrition, which was significantly higher than what we thought would be the 2025. We've made tremendous progress in our diversity. Of the total sworn, we now have 22% people of color. That is up from 20% in both 12 and 13, and only 18% in 2011. 2 nights ago, we graduated our cadet class, and thank you for those of you who were there. They're incredibly diverse, and we had 8 females, which is the largest number of females anybody can remember since the 90s. So we're very happy to see them. After a hiring freeze between 2009 and 2013, we now have a fully functioning training division, hiring and recruitment team, and strategy, which is now led by a commander because of the importance and the priority we have made it. I do thank Mayor Hodges for recognizing the value of our CSO program and making sure that's part of our budget versus us having to ask for enhancements. So because of that, we've really been able to create a strong CSO pipeline for us to draw good quality officers from now and really, frankly, for years to come. We have been successful in our grant submissions, including the most recent award of the $600,000 for the body camera program. And building on OJP diagnostic and recommendations, we were selected as one of the 6 cities, as you know, to participate in the national initiative for building communities of trust and justice. That provides us with 3 years of resources and support and research, frankly, that is often a necessary component and very hard to pay for and very hard to seek out. This is just a highlight, and I'm incredibly proud of the team and the work that's been done in this department. I want to thank Robin for her work in tracking, managing, and helping us to most effectively operate within our budget and still accomplish our mission. But we do have challenges. The number of critical incidents, homicides, protests, Operation 100s like a barricaded suspect, unplanned major events when we have sports teams that win, and other situations that are difficult for us to predict are taxing in resources. So those present challenges. Technology continues to bring challenges. Although we find value in technology, to try to keep up the pace of technology and find our best ways to utilize it is a challenge. Our city has certainly grown in population, and we have increased in our business and entertainment areas. So we're having to constantly evaluate the needs in all of our precincts because they change. In areas where we didn't need many officers, we continue to look at and reevaluate where we might need those. So as far as our presentation today, Robin's going to highlight our programs, and I'm going to discuss the enhancements.
Thank you very much, Chief
So we're going to
Harto.
do this kind of tag team.
Well, that's okay.
But,
I'm sure you rehearsed and orchestrated and choreographed this entire presentation.
Well, I appreciate the credit, but no.
Ms. McPherson, thank you for your help on this.
Mm-hmm. We'll just flip-flop them.
Yeah, sorry.
Mr. Chair, council members, thank you very much for allowing us to present the 2016 Mayor's recommended budget. As you can see from slide 3, we have quite a few enhancements that have been recommended for the year. To begin with, from the 2015 adopted budget to the 2016 target budget, the increase was approximately 2.9% in the general funds. This was before the enhancements. These changes represent increase in payroll and fringe rates. There are no increases in the operational budget at all to the target budget. And that was because we have been able to keep our operational costs flat for the last actually 3+ years, through either use of efficiencies, changes in procedures, changes in process. The enhancements that we're going to be presenting today include an increase in sworn officers as well as civilian positions, which we will discuss later. But all the enhancements allow the department to address community needs through increased accountability, improved public safety, enhanced transparency, foster community partnerships, and provide the infrastructure and support necessary to keep the officers on the street. I will briefly go through our current programs and ask that if you have any questions, please feel free during this portion. Our first core program mentioned here is the Emergency Response Services. This includes bomb, crisis negotiation, mobile command, SWAT response team, and special events and dignitary protection. I only am going to concentrate on the changes that have occurred during the current year, just so that you're kept abreast of the things that have changed within the department. As you know, in 2014, we moved the special operations out of this area. Included in 2015, we've put mounted patrol back to Precinct 1, since that is primarily used within that district. We no longer include K9 as well. That is out of Precinct 2. So those are the major changes. I think facing 2016, the challenge for this group as well, aside from the current events of today, will be actually looking at the Super Bowl, which we have assigned for 2018, and all the challenges that will be faced for that pretty significant event. Any questions before I go on?
Not seeing any, Ms. McPherson. Please continue.
The second area is public safety services, obviously the key to our department. These are the 911 responders, including the 5 precincts, our bike control, community response team, property crimes investigation, and this year, for the first time in a while, mounted patrol and K9 units also roll up into this. Some of the things that I guess I'd just like to highlight is what I think is a very successful program is our JET program, where we and 3 other law enforcement agencies during the summer have partnered to help on the streets and help deal with some of the crime and other trends that we're seeing. As we were last year, it has been very, very successful. I think that all the groups bring their area of expertise and knowledge, and I think it's been just a great program that we hope to continue. Our Bike Cops for Kids have expanded. We think this is a really good program, too, from a community engagement. We hope to continue this as well. In addition, this year we started a speaker series that happens out in the precincts. This has helped, one, from a training standpoint, and also improves the knowledge within the precincts of the community. And we've found this very informal, very educational, and very helpful. And we appreciate the community coming forward and being willing to speak to our precincts. That's their time and effort to do so, and it's been much appreciated. I think the other thing that we really would like to stress that has continued this year are the beat patrols that we have. But I think there has to be a realization that with all these activities, obviously the challenge, is payroll. And the more community events, the more beat patrols that we have has put a challenge on our payroll and specifically our overtime. So we can address those needs, I think, within the next year's budget, but that is something that we are constantly struggling with and something that we're constantly looking at on a monthly basis. So, Chief Arto, if there's no questions about the basic program, Chief Arto is going to go into the enhancements for this program.
So the first enhancement is for the body cameras. We know that other agencies have certainly seen a decrease in the use of force, decrease of citizen complaints, enhanced transparency, accountability, preservation of evidence. So we expect some really high outcomes from doing this, and obviously it's been supported by everybody here. We are currently in contract negotiations, and we expect, so we're planning for what that might be, but we expect all the grant paperwork to be done in November, and we'll start the policy review process this week. We do plan on rolling out the body cameras in March. Likely in this order, but there's some potential for change. First precinct, fourth precinct, third precinct, fifth precinct, second precinct, and then SWAT. What we're doing is we're planning on equipping all of the patrol officers, those that have that uniform 911 response. Officers, sergeants, lieutenants, all CERT team members, as well mounted patrol, canine, and SWAT. So there are some difference of opinions in how that looks and how quickly we do that and who gets what at what time. So those things are still under conversation as we develop our policy, frankly, and look at best practices.
Thank you.
Questions?
Not seeing any questions on that item. Obviously, we know we're still in negotiations.
Yes.
So we're going to let that go as a point because we don't want to endanger that. But all the other issues you were talking about are really policy or procedural, which aren't budget related. So I just wanted to
Correct.
make sure that everybody knew that was happening, and it's happening on a parallel track.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a next one. I'm out of order. Oh, I'm staring at. You know when you have to start getting longer hands or use the lights?
Yeah, if you want to
You're
use my
needing glasses. I've made it. I'll be 51 soon, and I've made it thus far without glasses, so I apologize. Yeah, I know. I was glad I made it to 40, and now I'm even hurt. So I'm sorry. The next enhancement is the 2 sworn officers, and that was certainly a recommendation Mayor Hodges had in her budget address as well, to really focus on youth outreach in our downtown area. There are, as you probably know, an increase in the 18 to 24 range being victims, and also 18 to 24 and probably 17 to 24 and being suspects. And so to have them help focus in our downtown areas would be very helpful. We also have, unfortunately, really a continued increase in youth homelessness. I'm on the advisory board at YouthLink, and we have a really great relationship with them. Our officers are working well with them, and this would be people that could be dedicated to really work with those that, and the YCB, those that really look at youth problems in downtown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to highlight that just a little bit more because it's not just the Minneapolis Police Department and that staffing need,
Yes.
but the coordination with Metro Transit Police, the County Sheriff's Department, other agencies involved are really working on that simultaneously. And
Yes,
we're talking
Mr.
about
Chair. Thank you. It's definitely a concerted
DIT,
effort. Yes.
the
There's a
outreach
lot of
workers,
hands
street
that
outreach
touch
workers.
it, and for us to have those additional officers to be able to help funnel that will be incredibly valuable.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, Councilmember Yang had a question. I didn't catch you there, Councilmember.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Chief, with regards to the 2 FTEs that are a lot in the enhancement here, if we're not going to get to, let's say, 862, let's say in the next year or so, are current existing police officers going to be put into those positions and then just have, let's say, those 2 folks' positions as regular FTEs just be on hold, or how does that work administratively?
Mr. Chair, Councilmember Yang, this is a recommendation from the mayor. I do see value in it. We will be making sure that these positions are doing that function. I have just authorized, I give the names of the CSO class that we're selecting, and the original Goal was to get 20 to 25, and we actually were able to select 32 because we're trying to make sure that we achieve that 862 number, and we're trying to remain as fluid as we can in that process. So the goal is to put those 2 people doing those activities in place. Now, does that mean that there needs to be readjustment in other places? That's a conversation we're continuing to have, and we'll have with Inspector Jones as well.
Okay.
Chief, I don't know if maybe it's further in the presentation, but is an opportunity to talk about the CSO, what that actually means, first of all, in definition for our audiences? I know what it means, as well as the hiring practices and.
It is in the presentation.
Okay, we'll let that continue then. I hope that answers your question, Councilmember Yang.
Yes, thank you.
There are several slides in this area, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the administration and training. This area is really the foundation of all the activities, including training and other critical support, resource allocation, resource oversight, coordination of programs, centralization of various departments, including fleet, crime lab, property and evidence, professional standards. So as you can see, it's a fairly significant portion of our program. Some of the things that are new this year that I think we should note are some of the OJP initiatives and recommendations, our fair and impartial training rollout, which is a continuation from last year, the national initiative. Others that I think you may not be as aware of is our online training collaboration with the League of Minnesota Cities. This has been something that we've actually had what we think is very good success with. It's saved some payroll dollars, but more importantly, it's given us professional, efficient, concise, and timely information in a somewhat different format than we've used before. We've had a range upgrade this year, and advanced investigation courses, talent review, and very importantly, a CIT training for all patrol officers, which we're beginning through a partnership with Hennepin County. As you probably know, this is a crisis intervention team, and the plan is to have the patrol officers have this training behind them to help in their jobs on the street and obviously help the community as well. From last year to this year, there has been an increase in this area as far as as far as staffing.